or times and dates?
Yeah.
Okay, we're rolling.
All right, this is an interview at the New York State Military Museum, Saratoga Springs, New York. It is the 14th of December, 2007, approximately 1 p.m. Interviewers are Mike Russert and Wayne Clark. Could you give me your full name, date of birth, and place of birth, please?
Floyd J. Dumas, January 26, 1920. Will be 88 years old next month.
And where were you born?
Born in Malone, New York.
Okay. What was your education prior to going into service?
2 years in high school.
Okay.
Only the 2 years in high school. I could never finish high school because it was a Depression time. My father had worked for the railroad, New York Central Railroad in Malone, and lost his job. I was the oldest boy in the family, so I had to quit high school and go and join into the CCC camp.
Oh. Now,
So,
when did you, what year do you remember was it when you quit high school? Well,
1940,
okay.
I think. No,
Mhm.
close anyway.
So you were in the CCC camps. What did you do?
They sent me to the CC camp this side of Saranac Lake,
Mm-hmm.
and well, it was a good thing in a CC camp because it got you ready to be in the Army, because we had regular uniforms. And the uniforms were from the from World War I that we wore, and it was in the winter time, and we would dig up big pine trees and transplant them to a different area in the winter time. It's the best time that they claim would be to transplant trees.
Mm-hmm.
We did that all winter time, and then in the spring went into a side camp in tents. We lived in tents, and we had regular barracks that we lived in, regular Army style,
Mm-hmm.
and with the uniforms and all. And we built a dam on a brook. I think it's Route 30 going into Malone, maybe 30 miles this side of Malone. Did that all one summer. I was in about a year, and then I transferred out. You could have like 6 months at a time, and then you could quit if you wanted to. So I stayed in about 1 year. It was a good education.
Was the pay good enough to help support your family?
Yes. Oh, by the way, the pay was it was started by President Roosevelt in 1938, and the pay was $30 a month. $25 a month went to our parents. We had $5 to spend for the month. I guess the only entertainment we had, we used to shoot crap for cigarettes.
Now, where were you when you heard about Pearl Harbor?
Alexandria Bay and the Thousand Islands. The other side of Watertown.
Mhm,
You've
right.
probably been in that area sometime
Yes, I
or
know the
other.
area, yes.
We were right around Christmas time, I think, when I got the notification that I was drafted into the service. Yeah.
What were you doing when you heard about Pearl Harbor? Do you remember that?
I think I was cooking steaks in this restaurant and bar and restaurant at the time. It was a slow season. They wanted me to stay on until they hired a lot more during the summer. They wanted me to stay on just as an extra. So I did bartending and cooking in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you were drafted?
I was drafted, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Into the Army. When were you drafted? Do you remember?
I think I went in the Army in February of '42.
Okay. Where did you go for your basic training?
Camp Croft, South Carolina, We went from Malone to Camp Upton, Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
Had a physical and gave us a uniform to put on. And by train we went to, I had just said the camp.
In South Carolina.
Camp Croft.
Croft, yeah.
Camp Croft, South Carolina.
Mm-hmm. How long were you there?
I think 18 weeks of basic training, infantry training.
Did you receive any additional training besides that, or just infantry training?
Yeah, a lot of us took training on a 37 millimeter gun, which was useless when we got into in any action on it. We shot it at a couple of German tanks and just bounced off, so they got rid of those.
Mm-hmm.
We took all that training on it for nothing.
Now, where did you go after you left that camp?
We went to Pine Camp, New York, Watertown.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know why they sent us there, because 40 below zero. A lot of times we couldn't even have any training. The training was done inside in the barracks, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't stay there too long. We went to a couple of other camps, one in Massachusetts, Fort Devens, Mass.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how long we were there, but we had training there. In the summer before going to Pine Camp, we took amphibious landings at Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Got on the regular big transports, made regular invasions of land,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we were there about a month. And when we ended up in Watertown at Pine Camp, from there we had to wait out, and then we shipped out from Hampton Roads, Virginia, for overseas.
Now, were you assigned to a unit, or were you sent over as a replacement?
I sent over as a replacement, and they put us in the 45th Infantry Division, Company F, 179th Regiment, 2nd Battalion, Thunderbird Division.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, wasn't that from the Southwest? Most of the guys are from the Southwest?
Yes. I think National Guard unit.
Yes, right.
I think a National Guard unit.
Mhm.
We're fill-ins anyway for
Mhm,
a
mhm.
bunch of Yankees that got filled in the division. Yeah.
How did you get along with the Southerners?
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. There was just one a sergeant, the Southern sergeant in South Carolina that was a little bit tough.
Uh-huh.
But we had Indians and cowboys in our division, you know,
Mhm.
from Oklahoma and Texas.
Right.
And they were a good bunch of guys, real tough. Yeah.
Now, where did you join them?
Fort Devens, Mass.
Oh, you joined them before you went overseas?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now that you ask me, I remember.
Yeah. Did you go over in a convoy?
Yes. Shipped out of Hampton Roads.
Mm-hmm.
I'm even trying to think of the name of the ship.
How long did it take you to get overseas?
I would say a couple of weeks,
Mm-hmm.
at least 2 weeks,
Mhm.
zigzagging.
Okay, so you went to the Mediterranean.
Yeah. Yes.
Where did your ships go? Where did they land when they took you overseas?
We landed when we got there. I'm losing it now. You mean when we get on this big transport? Where did it land?
Yes. Did you go right? I know you were into Sicily. Did you go right into Sicily or North Africa?
No, we didn't invade North Africa.
Well, I just meant if you
Yeah,
went right into Sicily.
we went into No.
Oh,
We invaded Sicily.
yeah.
They pulled into a port there. I can't remember what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And we also made a mock landing wherever we landed there. I don't quite remember.
Mm-hmm.
Oran,
Oh,
Oran,
okay.
North Africa.
Yeah, okay.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we took training there, a dry run like.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Now, when you went into Sicily, were you in one of the first? Were you in the first wave?
Yes. Hmm.
What was it like?
Well, I would say over half of us were sick to begin with from the boats that we're on, the landing craft infantry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the waters. They almost canceled the invasion of Sicily. Almost canceled it because the weather was so bad, and everybody got sick on the big boat coming down the ladders and getting into the landing craft infantry. A lot of us were sick, but they didn't call it off. We invaded it anyway. We landed at Gila in Sicily. We went from Gila, Sicily, in the southern part, right up through to the most northern part of the capital. Can I think of the capital of Sicily now? Way up in the northern part. 33 days we fought in Sicily. We took the island.
Salerno.
No.
Salerno's another. Yeah.
No,
I'm just trying to
Salerno,
think.
we made another landing at Salerno.
Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to think of the cap.
The name of what's the capital of Sicily? And then
Doesn't
you
start
got it.
with a C.
Huh?
I think so.
Palermo.
Palermo.
Palermo. Yeah.
Palermo,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Now, you were with Patton then, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Did you ever get to see him?
Yes, we've seen him. Yeah.
What did you think of Patton?
Pretty rough and ready, yeah. That time, I mean, he was an excellent general, but he was a little bit too wild,
Mhm.
you know, by slapping that kid in the,
Yeah, that happened shortly after.
yeah, after we hit in Sicily,
Mhm.
yeah. He was a little bit too rough on soldiers, you know. He was a good general. Otherwise, I guess they wouldn't have him there,
Mhm.
yeah.
What was it like? What was your reaction like in Sicily?
A lot of snipers.
Mhm.
No, like crowded bunch of Germans coming at us, you know, and moving from here to there. Of course, we're walking all the time. We never rode when we were in the infantry. And the civilians were real good to us. They gave us a 3-day pass. We all got drunk and sick. That didn't help us out any. We went to Palermo. They gave us a 3-day pass at Palermo. But I guess we all got sick. Then from there we went into bivouac someplace for a while. A little more training. Then we invaded Salerno, Italy. Good landing at Salerno. Not much competition.
You were fighting against. Which were you fighting against? The Italians or German at that
When
time?
we invaded Salerno, Mussolini had, we got the notice over the speaker, that Mussolini had surrendered at that particular time.
Mhm.
So we didn't have the Italians to fight.
Mhm.
So we had just the Germans to contend with. I can't remember quite how long that we fought there in Salerno, but I guess it was long enough. But then from Salerno, of course, we went to Anzio, which was terrible, terrible, terrible. That's all I can say. Yeah. A lot of Germans that tough. Yeah. Had that landing, got hit hard even at the landings, but I think a lot of us got killed. Our division suffered terrible at Anzio. I think I got it in my my report there, that how many they lost, right on that page 1, I
Yeah,
think.
it says your regiment lost 55%.
Uh-huh. A lot of them, they just couldn't stand it, went right out of their minds. A lot of the soldiers, they couldn't take it. It was so bad. I guess one of the Anzio was the worst that I've ever seen there.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very bad, yeah. I think I'm pretty lucky to be sitting here talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Now, were you wounded at
Yeah.
Anzio?
Left leg right here, shrapnel wound, nothing serious.
Was it from a grenade or artillery round?
I think a grenade. We're up in the mountains.
Mhm.
Yeah. And a little speck on my right hand, which you can't even see anymore. No.
Now, how you were captured there? How did that happen?
Well, we were going good. We were heading right for Rome. We weren't too far from Rome. And all the divisions were pushing forward. General Lucas put a stop to us. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's a lot of talk about it. I don't know. But we had to dig in slit trenches and foxholes and something. At least 3 weeks we were dug in. Rained and sometimes it even snowed and everything, but we're just a stalemate right there. Well, I gave the Germans time to draw some of their troops out of Russia and here and there and stop us at Anzio. And which they did. They almost pushed us in the ocean. They had to, all the rear echelon was issued rifles and hand grenades and everything, and no more cooking. They had to stop them. We were, at the particular time that I was captured, we were dug in the Mussolini Canal. The only good thing that Mussolini ever did for the Italian people was to dig that canal
Mm-hmm.
for irrigation purposes for the Italians' crops, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they say anyway. He didn't do any other good. And we're dug in early in the morning. They came at us, I'm telling you, with tanks and hundreds of infantry. And we were dug in. The canal is like this. The Germans were here. We're dug in this part here in a slit trench. And those 88s were firing right out in the opposite bank of the canal. Shoot anything at us. Well, anyway, it's a good thing the engineers knew what they were doing. They blew up all the bridges over the canal where we were the night before. They must have known what was going to happen. And that stopped them from getting their tanks over the canal. But the infantry just ran right through us. And they grabbed a whole bunch of us. The big 88s were just pointing right at us, and we were in the canal. We took our rifles and smashed them and threw our ammunition in the water in the bottom of the canal. And we surrendered to them. I don't know how many of this, I would say quite a group of us all in one catch there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they marched, they got us to their lines. And the worst part about being captured, you're in the German lines now. And we're getting hit by our artillery. They don't know we're getting captured. They're rushing us, get us into their lines, you know. I remember a German officer running out of one of the buildings and wanting us to run. Well, we'd run a while and then a shell would fall and we'd fall down, you know. We're trained to do that. One of those shells landed right at his feet. And he never gave another command. That was the end of him. Yeah. It was quite a few miles to the prison camp, as I remember. A couple, 3 days. Well, that night anyway, we got into this small town. Oh, it must have been Anzio, the town of Anzio. And they put us way down underneath in tunnels, underneath the ground. Underneath it, like we went into homes and so on, way down. Could never understand why. But when we get up in the morning, the American bombers had leveled the town. Every house in Anzio was bombed completely out. That's why they put us down there for protection. So then when we got out of there, they started the walk, I think maybe 15, 20 miles to the prison camp, Cinecittà. Cinecittà.
No, this was during the winter, wasn't it? That, I think Anzio was in January,
February, I
February,
guess.
January.
Yeah.
Do you have winter gear?
Pardon?
Did you have winter gear, overcoats and boots and so on?
No, we didn't have no winter gear at all. In fact, I can't remember what I had on, but it seemed like it was kind of foolish. Maybe I had traded, I don't know, maybe a uniform with some kind of a dungaree thing, you know.
Mhm.
Seems so that's what I had when I escaped.
Mhm.
Some like a dungaree thing.
Did
Well,
you get fed by the Germans at all, or in this, while you were being taken to camps?
Oh, it was
Different
terrible.
camps?
The food was terrible. In fact, the post-star asked me how come I wanted to escape. I told him I didn't like the food. And anyway, they marched us and they made us bury their dead. They had hundreds of dead soldiers laying along like the side of a dirt road where a plane came down and strafed and killed 15, 20, 30 of them. And they made us dig trenches and throw those German soldiers in there all the way to the prison camp. And didn't give us no water, no food at all. 20 or 30 miles anyway, at least, you know. I'd never gained a lot of weight anyway, at any time. Even to today, I only weigh 145. And once they got us to the prison camp, it was called Cinecittà. You know the story about Cinecittà?
No.
Well, Cinecittà in Italian means a city of movies. It's been in Italy there. It's about, I don't know how many miles from Rome. I think 30 miles from Rome. They took over, when Mussolini surrendered his troops, the Germans took over Cinecittà and made a transit camp out of it, with the barbed wire and the whole bit, you know. And they marched us to this Cinecittà and locked up the gates and this and that. They had wire and everything all around it. And you're only supposed to be there 12 days. And they said they're going to ship us to the Black Forest in Germany by boxcars. Well, that was embedded in my mind, you know, 12 days here. Well, in the morning to begin, they didn't have any utensils or nothing. And in the yard that we were, they only had a latrine, a big, long place where you went to the bathroom, you know. They had one faucet in there. And in the morning, they gave us German green tea in our steel helmets. Didn't even have cups or nothing. They poured it in our, you'd take the liner out and pour the green tea into the helmet. Then at noontime, some concoction of Italian greens, or one day they had a horse in there that they cooked up, and you lined up. And then at night, they lined you up. They had a prison count, lined up in the column of fives, and then he'd say 5, and the guy'd write down 5, you know, prisoners entering. They'd hand the guy that's ahead of the 5 guys a small black loaf of German bread to be cut up between the 5 of us. So that went on every day I was in the prison camp. Yeah. We all got diarrhea, but the German doctor took care of us all. He gave us something to take care of it, you know. But we didn't have any bathing or any showers or anything like that. No.
Did you ever get any kind of meat or anything, just the
No.
bread?
No, no kind of meat. Just Italian greens or, like I said, a horse, or they might have had pork there one day. I don't remember, but I think that's the time we all got diarrhea, when we ate the pork.
What about USO packages?
No, not a thing.
Or Red Cross packages?
Didn't even see a package. No, not one package. Of course, I wasn't there that long. I was only there 10 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
How did you escape?
Well, it was like in the afternoon, and we were in the big building where they'd lock us in at night. You know, after they give us the loaf of bread, they'd lock us in there at night, and during the day, they kept it unlocked, and you could be in the prison camp or out in the yard. So there's a bunch of us playing cards in the prison camp when a couple of the guys come running in and said, somebody just ripped a big hole in the fence. They had a wire fence, a big wire fence, and then they had a smaller one here. You weren't supposed to get anywhere near this other little smaller fence, away from the main fence, you know. They said they had ripped a hole in the fence. They got over the barbed wire thing, and a couple of guys had just escaped down, got through there anyway, in broad daylight. So he said, did anybody want to go, want to give it a try? Nobody wanted to go. So I said, yeah, it was still, you know, it's been 10 days I'm here. What the heck, if a couple of guys get away, maybe I can too. So we went out, and sure enough, they formed a big, sort of a big circle there where the fence was all ripped apart. And then the air raid siren started to blow and blow. And they didn't, what they had was, they didn't have prison camp, POW, written on the roof of this Cinecittà. And some of the planes didn't know that it was a prison camp, you know? So anyway, or this Englishman said, I'll go with you. I'll go with you. We'll try to get out. So we did. They formed the thing, and we got out through the two fences, but we didn't know that we were still in the prison camp. We were still in the prison camp because it was a huge, huge place, you know. So we had to find some place to hide, so when night fell, we'd be able to get out of there. So we found a room where they had a lot of this fake scenery stuff, you know, that they used for props and this and that, and when they were taking movies. And we hid in there until dark, and then thunder and lightning and a storm came up, which was good for us. I don't know how lucky we got. They must have been doing some work next to the wall, and they had thrown dirt up against that wall, and they just threw enough up high enough that we get up on there and we could get to the top of the wall and throw ourselves over. So we did. We got out of there, and I don't care if you're an American soldier or a British soldier or a Japanese soldier, when you're on guard duty and it's raining, you're going to look for a little spot where you're not going to get too wet. That's what the Germans did. They never saw us not go through the yard and anything, even lights on and everything. Yeah. And we get over the fence and ripped. They had barbed wire and they had broken glass and everything on top of the wall. But we got over and then fell down on the other side, and we ran.
There were just the two of you escaped.
Just two of us, yeah. We ran across the countryside, and on the way we were pulling up carrots and stuff and eating the dirt and all. We were hungry. Came upon a farmhouse and knocked on the door, and the Italian people were sleeping next to a fireplace on the floor, the old man and the old lady. So we knocked on the door and came, and we had little booklets with Italian things, you know. So we learned Americano Soldati, American soldier. So he said, see, so he let us in, and we were wringing wet. So we dried out our clothes and everything. They gave us something to eat, and the old man spoke a little English. He said, you know, can stay here tomorrow, you know. If the Germans catch you here, they kill us. So we said, well, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? So he said, half a mile away down the road, there's a bombed out house. You get down in there and hide for a while. So that's what we did. Get down to that bombed out house. Then the other guy that was with me, he wanted to try to get back to our lines. Can you imagine that? Here we are in the German lines. You want to get back to our lines? I said, what are you, crazy? What do you want to get back to the lines for? You can't get through all those soldiers to get back to our lines. He said, well, I think we should try. I said, you want to try? You go ahead. He tried, and he got challenged by a German outpost. They shot him immediately right there. Yeah.
Did you see him get shot?
No, but I heard the shot.
Ah.
Yeah. And they picked him up, and so I stayed in that bomb house. I don't know how many days. I still got a uniform on, you know?
Mhm.
I said, I got to do something pretty soon. So there was a small town not too far away. I said, I got to take a chance, and when there's no Germans around, I'm going to have to walk into that and tell them American soldier. So they greeted me. I did it, and I was all right. It was a small town, and the people all hated the Germans anyway. So they got me into civilian clothes and everything, and old pair of shoes with the holes in the toes and everything. I wish I had a picture of that. And stayed there quite a few days. But there were Germans all around there, anti-aircraft, you know, and they'd pay no attention to me, no. Then they brought me to this other guy. He said there was an Indian, a soldier from, an Indian soldier that spoke English. So it got me in touch with him. And if he was a prisoner of war, I don't know what he was. But anyway, we got to talk, and I said to him, I don't like staying in the country here like this. He said, well, I've been here quite a while, you know, and they haven't been bothering me at all. I said, we got notice that the Vatican was taking in escaped prisoners of war. Do you suppose you could get me into Rome and over to the Vatican, and I could try to get in there? So he said, yeah, in a couple of days. So my shoes, I had still had Army. I had a pair of shoes that looked like Army shoes, so they put black polish on them. So we headed for Rome. It was about 15 miles. Part of the way we went on a bus, and we got to the Vatican, and we talked to the Swiss guards at the Vatican, and they said, no, they're not allowed any more prisoners in the Vatican. We're neutral, and we're not allowed to do it. And I said, well, we heard that there were escaped prisoners in here. He said, there are, but they put a stop to it, so they wouldn't let us in. He said, but you got to go back to the country where you were and stay 3 days. And after 3 days, you come back here, and right over to the left here, there's an alleyway. When that clock strikes 12 there, you look across the street. There'll be a man standing there with a black overcoat on, and in his right-hand pocket he'll have a newspaper. When he takes the newspaper down from his face and puts it in his pocket, you go across the street and say, "Americano soldate," and that's all you got to say. And I went back to the country, and in 3 days I went back there. That's exactly what happened. He said to me, he spoke English. He said, we're going to get in trolleys and buses and everything. And he said, I'll pay for all the tolls, and don't you talk or anything, just stay close to me. So the bus stopped, and it came to a nun's convent, and he rang the bell, and the nun came out and let us in. Went into a little room where they had a table set with a bottle of wine and some Italian soup. The guy shook hands with me. He said, you did very well. So we stayed in, that's where I met Bill Robb, the Scotchman. He had been hiding in that nun's convent there. So they introduced me to him. They used the buddy system. Bill speaks fluent Italian, you don't. You're going to be together the rest of the time back here. Wherever Bill goes, you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He'll do the talking, you'll be the dummy. So, but we stayed in this woman's place a long time, and studied Italian, you know. We played Italian cards and everything, and she was an elderly woman. Her husband was in the Italian army, and he was missing in action, a captain. She ran out of money. She ran out of food. They sent us from there to this woman's house. The street was Via Bettalonia. The Italian woman name was Signora Capezzoni. Never forget that. Woman probably 50, 60 years old. And ran out of food and ran out of money. She was hiding 3 of us in there. Up on the 6th floor of an apartment building on Via Bettalonia. So she didn't know what to do. We didn't have any money, escaped prisoners of war. So she called up her friend in Rome, and she told her the story. She said, you send the American and the Scotsman to this address, the Swiss legation. Gave us the address, we got on the little trolleys, they had little trolleys in. And we went to that address, walked in there, the guy had a sign on his desk. I speak 7 languages, take your pick. So we talked English, the easiest way. Told him what the story was. Oh, so you want to borrow money? Yeah, we want to borrow money. This woman doesn't have any money and he's feeding 3 of us. She's feeding 3 of us.
Who was the other person?
There was one other one there, I don't even remember. Seems so it was one from, that was with us, a blonde-haired kid from Syracuse. I don't remember what his name was. He was the 3rd one there. And he said, you can borrow money, just sign your name, rank, and serial number, and when the war is over, American government will repay Switzerland, and the Scottish government will pay it. It was good. So I borrowed the 5 months behind the lines. I borrowed $108.12. I was out of the Army in 1945, and I was working for a milk company, a dirty job. There was an ad in the paper for Stein Stores Incorporated. You ever remember? Does the name ring a bell to you?
No.
No. They had a store at Glens Falls, Stein's. Stein Stores opening up a store in Malone, a big chain. And I went and applied for the job. You had to learn tailoring, had to learn store management, window trimming, and all that. So I got the job, and it was about 3 weeks that I picked up the tailoring real quick. I learned it in 6 months. They couldn't understand it, so I'm telling my sister, I can't understand that. She said, well, your uncle Eli was the top tailor in Malone here years ago. Maybe he's brushing off on you. So I said, well, that's all right. Well, anyway, so I said to the store manager, I got this telegram. Well, I didn't get that to that yet, huh? I got this telegram from the finance department stating that I had borrowed $108.12, the equivalent of 2,000 Italian lire. And due to the fact that you serviced your country and so on, you still owe it to the finance department. So please send a check to, just got married, had 1 child. I don't have no $108.12. But he said, well, maybe you're going to have to get a lawyer. So it came back to me. In Malone, I caddied for this lawyer, and I said, I wonder if he's still in business. Galliano Pond, his name was. So I called him up and I told Galliano what I was doing and what happened. He said, I'll be right over to the store, I'll take care of everything. And he did, he got all the information and everything. Then another head man, they sent him down to Washington, D.C. They straightened it out. I don't know if I got an apology in there. They sent me,
Yes.
yeah, they sent me an apology, apologized for the mistake in their case. It was in every newspaper in the country. Washington's face is red due to the fact for Dunning ex-escaped GI. Yeah.
Now, after you got that money, what did you use it for? To help that woman and her family?
Yeah, she bought eggs, but they sell eggs and stuff, a lot of stuff on the streets and so on. And these places where they had the barter system, and you could exchange a pig for half a dozen hens or anything like that. It went that way, those Italians in that days. And we bought wine too. We drank wine. We're civilians back there. We're walking the streets anyway. And the Germans didn't know we were civilians as long as I didn't open my mouth. Yeah.
So how long were you in Rome before
Before
you met Americans or were liberated?
well, we went from that house, went out to a small town of Torsabianza. These farmers were hiding us there. Hollowed out haystacks and tunnels in the ground, and we had a young Italian kids while we slept at night on guard, just, you know, in case somebody came around, they'd let us know. So do you remember reading the story about the haystacks?
Yes.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, yeah.
They strafed the haystacks and they blew up. They were hiding their ammunition in the haystacks,
Mhm.
and we were living in one. Oh boy, a lot of stuff happened, huh? We're staying this. Must have been like 15, 20 miles from Rome, the Torsavianza, where these people were hiding us and knew that we're Americans, American and British. Just Bill and I were together then. The other guy, I don't know what happened to him. It was just him and I were together. He did all the talking and so on. And the kids hollered to us that we're done in a tunnel. And the kids said, the American soldiers are in the town of Torsavianza. We said, you're crazy, they're not here yet. They're going to take Rome yet. And come here, come here. And he showed us a little package of Camel cigarettes. And then, holy gee, then right away I knew the feeling that came over me was, I'll never forget it. Went out there, sure, the 88th Infantry Division was coming through. So we went right in with them. We walked right in with them. Turned ourselves in and everything. Went to different officials and told them what the story was and everything. And they didn't have a uniform to put on us or nothing. And everything was moving so fast, you know. They interrogated us and everything. Got the whole story. And they said, let's see, where am I now? Oh, you've got to, he gave me a letter and he said, you've got to go to Naples. You got to report to a Captain so-and-so in Naples. I said, geez, Naples isn't too nearby, but we took Naples before we took Rome, you know. So I said, how am I going to get to Naples? He said, didn't have no uniform or nothing, no American uniform get in. They put a British uniform on me with the tam and the shorts and the long socks. I hitchhiked an American hitchhiking in a British uniform. I wish I'd have kept it. I know I got rid of it. So I hitchhiked and I got a ride, and I'd have to explain to guys, I'm not what a soldier. I'm an American soldier, but this and that. So everybody understood anyway. So I reported to him, and he made the arrangements to ship me by boat to Oran, North Africa. Got off at Oran, then I get on a plane and fly to, no, a plane flew us to, from Naples to Oran, the plane, yeah, a mail plane it was, had bucket seats in it, and then Oran put us on a boat and pulled into Hampton Roads, Virginia, yeah, that got us home.
Now, whatever happened to that friend of yours, was Bill, the Scotsman?
He went to Aberdeen. He went back to Aberdeen, Scotland. Yeah, and we kept in touch. We gave each other our names, and our address, and we corresponded back and forth. And then, after my training was done in Malone store, they gave me a store in Danbury, Connecticut, to run. So me and my wife and the daughter, they moved us, the furniture and everything, to Danbury. And Bill, in the meantime, he couldn't find work in Aberdeen, Scotland? Aberdeen, is that it? Couldn't find any work there. So he had got married and had a child. So he moved to Montreal, Quebec. An hour and a half from Malone. That's where my parents lived, and that's where the address that he had. Yeah. So he knew that, so he was in a pub. He tells me how he found me. He said he was in a pub drinking beer in Montreal, and these old guys were talking about Malone, Jesus, that guy behind the lines with me, Giovanni Dumas. I went by the name of Giovanni Gonzi, but there's no Floyd Dumas in Italy. So he said to his wife, I got to go see him. So he jumped in his car and he went to Malone. Of course, we weren't there. So he found my parents on Brown Street, And my parents said, no, they living in Danbury, Connecticut. Told them how to get there. Came and stayed 2 weeks with us. Can you imagine that? Everything panned out good. Yeah, 2 weeks. Then I used to hear from him here and there. The last Christmas card I got from him quite a few years ago, he was working on bridges, steel worker in Chicago. And that was the end. Never heard from him since. No. Died like a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know of not one person that's alive in the company that I was in. Say nothing about that. I don't even run into anybody in my division. I go to these, this thing that they have at the VA once a year, prisoner of war thing. No, one
Well,
guy.
most of those guys were from the Southwest, though.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, a lot of them.
did
Yeah,
you ever try looking online to see if you could find?
couldn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
my daughter did it. Yeah, yeah.
When were you discharged?
That's awful. You know,
Oh,
1945,
okay.
February. Is it February?
September is written down here.
Yeah, September 10th, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, 1945. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, did you ever make use of the GI Bill?
No, never did. Friends of mine used it to buy a home.
Mhm.
Yeah,
How about the 5220 Club?
no,
Never used that.
never used that either.
Mhm.
No,
Did you join any veterans
I
organizations?
belonged to all of them. Veterans of foreign wars, and I do tailor work for all of them. I just got done doing $400 worth of work, never charged them a dime. And any customers that I did tailor work for 58 years. Yeah, done in my home. Yeah, I did work, you know Charlie Wood,
Yes.
Glens Falls?
Mhm.
Did all Charlie's, I did for 3 millionaires in Glens Falls. Expert tailoring. Charlie Wood used to come to my house. Yeah, go down into my basement and I'd measure him up, and he got so feeble then he couldn't get down there, so I'd go up to his office or his home and I'd measure him up there. Another guy by the name of Skeets Woodbury, another millionaire, he just died 2 weeks ago in Glens Falls. He was with he owned the Woodbury Lumber Company. He inherited it from his dad.
Mhm.
Yeah, another millionaire. And John Forrester from Saratoga, do you know him? John Forrester? He's in real estate or something. I did all his tailor work. He was a real sharp dresser. Brought all his stuff to me. Yeah. And had a good tailoring. Good tailoring. Somebody would take that up and make all kinds of money. Do you know what you have to pay for to have a pair of pants shortened now?
No.
$19. You know what I was getting? 8 when I quit. Can you imagine that? One dry cleaner's Feigenbaum gets 19 because I checked on him just a month ago, and the other one is getting 12. And I quit doing them for $8, cuffs or plain bottoms. Yeah.
How do you think your time in the service had an effect on your life?
Did it have an effect?
How did it? Yes, did it?
How did it
Yeah.
affect my life? I would say I got over it good.
Mhm.
Yeah. I thought a lot about it. I had wicked dreams. Wouldn't talk about it for a long, long time. Finally, I sat down with my wife. My wife is still living. She's 83. We've been married 62 years.
Wow.
And I said, what's the matter with me? They're not teaching this in school. I better start opening my mouth, you know. So I went to Hudson Falls and I gave 4 talks. I gave one at the senior citizens, and then nobody ever called me at, there's different little towns that been wanting to get me, but they haven't called me yet. Yeah. Do you know Mr. Roselle in Hudson Falls?
Yes, Matt.
Matt? Great guy,
Yeah,
huh?
yep.
Oh, wonderful guy.
Did you do an interview for them?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have it for some reason, because I did a search.
I did
Because
I
they,
did
they-
at least 3 or 4 talks with him, different classes.
yeah, he usually sends us copies of his interviews.
I have one at home. I think it's a DVD, maybe.
Mhm,
I don't know.
probably.
He just sent me one that he had just had. I didn't even know about this outfit. Did you read about it?
The one about the train?
Yes.
Yes.
He sent me the,
Yeah, we want to get a copy of that. We haven't had a copy of that from him yet.
no?
So,
He
No.
mailed me one just last week. Can you
Oh.
imagine that? I
okay,
got it
maybe
in my
you'll send
top
me a
drawer.
copy. I
Is
wanted
that,
to,
is that a DVD?
yes, it is. A square,
is? I gotta bring it to my
rectangular
daughters.
box. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you have some photographs somewhere. Now, this is when you were married right after you got out of service?
Yes,
Take
I
a
was
look.
still in the service. And we moved to Augusta, Georgia. That's where I was in the service, Augusta, Georgia.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So you
Okay.
got married in April of '45.
that's right. April 3rd, I think.
Let's see. Now, these are some of the women that you stayed with?
Yeah, these were daughters of a guy in another page here.
Mm-hmm.
This is these people. He ran a biscuit factory. Here he is here, this man here.
Okay, I don't.
He ran a biscuit factory in Rome. He used to have us over on Sunday and have spaghetti and meatballs, the Scotsman and I. He ran a theater in Rome. And he had 3 beautiful girls, daughters, in his home. I think I had them there somewhere, the girls' pictures. I don't know.
I think we got,
Yeah, I think
got
they were.
them.
Let's see what else we have. Now, is this the telegram your parents received? I think.
I can't read it.
Let me see. Yes.
It is.
Inform you that your son is missing, yes.
Okay.
That's a dollar bill I found one day and I just tuck it in there. There's all the information. See that? That there when the Army apologizes for Dunning
Oh, yes,
GI?
yes.
There's the write-up on it. Yeah. And there might be another one on the other page too. POW. That's all in I saved every bit of that stuff.
Well, there's another telegram to your parents.
It is, yeah. What was the guy's name? Julio or Julio?
Well, this one is, you were reported missing in action the 18th of February
Oh yeah.
in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Now this is, I think you said that in this photograph,
Mm-hmm.
this is all your friends, and that's you, and none of these guys,
The company that I was in.
yeah,
Yeah,
they were all probably killed or missing.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Now, I think, is there some memorabilia over in here? You got some more stuff here?
No. Oh, I brought my medals along to
yeah.
show you.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
let me just bring that over to you.
I didn't know whether to bring them or not, so to bring them then.
Yep, just take the frame out and we can zoom in on it.
Keep these on the wall at home?
Down in my tailor shop.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, my wife's got so many, she said, if you put it there, Floyd, put it down in the tailor shop, more people will see it than up here.
Well, that's a pretty impressive collection.
This is on the back of it. It's from the government. Do you know when I got those medals?
No.
I think the year of 2000. I got out in 1945.
And you didn't get any medals until 2000?
I didn't even know what I was supposed to get. It
No,
came in the
because you
mail.
owed all that money.
Do you want to read off what he's got there?
Well, this is the New York State
Here,
medal
Yeah.
here, right?
Well,
this will be
Okay.
in here.
this is blurred out for
Okay.
some reason. Hold. Okay.
Okay, you have the Purple Heart, of course. What's that, the European?
Oh, the
Two,
European service or
European
victory in
service.
Europe.
Bronze Star. Should be an African, North African Service Medal.
African right here.
Yes, okay, there it is.
Okay.
Yeah. with 3 stars on it. 3 invasions.
American Campaign, National Defense Medal.
Good conduct in the corner.
Good
Should be a World
conduct.
War II victory medal there somewhere too.
Yeah.
I think that's what that one is.
That one, yeah.
Yeah.
There's all written on
And
there,
then
every
the
one of them,
Combat
yeah.
Infantry Badge.
Infantry Combat
Yeah.
Badge, yeah.
Okay, and that's the patch for the 45th Division.
Yep, the Thunderbirds.
Thunderbird, yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your interview.
Well, thank you too.